Jeffrey Dean Morgan did an incredible job of being Conquest in the Invincible finale. Season 3, Episode 8. And of this, he had 22 minutes and 21 seconds of screen time. That is the entirety of his character in this one episode. So overall, he had about, 24 minutes of screen time being alive. And he dies exactly at 27 minutes into the episode. I have it all written down here. I've done the maths. I'm a very smart boy. And of these 22 minutes and 21 seconds of screen time, where he's killing, dismembering, stretching, and laughing the entire time, 1 minute and 14 seconds of this is dedicated to a monologue. Now, we all know what this monologue is, given the fact it was not in the comics, and it was also the creepiest monologue anyone has ever heard ever. Now, given my reaction, you could say I was rather touched and traumatized by it at the exact same time. No diddy. And I just want to take the time to explain why this monologue had such a profound effect on me, and why, in general, this monologue is one of the best monologues I have ever heard delivered ever, let alone in a normal performance in a movie or film in general. Even the fact that it is just a voice acting performance, I still think it is incredible. And given the fact it was only 1 minute and 14 seconds long, it felt so much longer than that. Given the amount of substance and just traumatizing-ness that was located inside each word he spoke, it was, something incredible. So let's get to the little explanation.
I am a victim of my own success.
First off is the actual voice. Throughout the entire episode, Conquest was very demeaning, he was quite loud, he was very authoritative, and he had that over Mark and anyone, to be fair, that he was talking to. He felt better than them, and he just displayed that with his voice and spoke outwardly, and he would make jokes and kind of laugh to himself. All this whilst fighting and being incredibly demeaning, but also charming in the fact that Jeffrey Dean Morgan is just a very charming man with a very charming voice.
Scorched earth, you dick!
So you can hear that through his voice, which is why I think some people had a problem with the voice not being deep enough, especially when you look at the character and you kind of think, you would think of a bigger, deeper voice. For example, Thor in God of War Ragnarok, Ryan Hurst. Thor is a massive, big man, and Ryan Hurst has the voice that fits that.
How were you ever a god of war?
So when you look at Conquest, you think a very deep, big man voice should accompany that. But the interesting thing is Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he has a lot of gravel in his voice, but naturally he has a lot of charm, and there's a lot to his voice. And I just want to say that if the voice was deeper, I do not believe the performance that Jeffrey Dean Morgan gave would have been possible with anyone with a deeper voice. Because I'll give examples for like Batman and Christian Bale.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
If you're putting on a deeper voice, like, it would be impossible to almost find someone who apart from like Ryan Hurst, who has a deep enough voice to portray what people wanted. So the chances are, if they were to get a deeper voice, it would have to be someone that's actually performing that voice. And to actually get the depth and just this cynical and the crazy twisted nature of the words that he says in this monologue, to get that perfect in the way that Jeffrey Dean Morgan did, you have to have that subtler voice, and the gravel works very well for the character as well. Now back to my original point. Throughout the episode, Conquest had a very certain tone. He was very laughing, he was very joking, he was very outwards. But in this monologue specifically, and why you remember it for what it was, is he slows it down. The performance is very internal, and he starts to whisper, his voice changes, and he starts to get more to the level of Mark. He doesn't expand himself and outwardly portray himself and have this level that he has. He then moves that down, and That's why it becomes so creepy and so crazy when you hear it. But especially, there's a 3 to 4 second pause before he does it, because he's holding Mark by the neck, and then he comes down, and then he just waits there for 3 to 4 seconds, and then he just starts whispering. And the contents of what he's saying is terrifying as well, especially because of the fact it's real, and you're definitely not expecting it if you're a comic reader or if you're just watching it for the first time. So yeah, it's incredible, and it's just that distinction between the rest of the episode and just that monologue is what makes it stand out in the delivery of it. And Jeffrey De Morgan does absolutely fabulous job of portraying just that hurt and sort of connection that he longs and wants, and the sort of the reasoning behind it, and the fact that he cares, but he doesn't really care because of what he is and how he feels towards it. And it's like he has no friends, but it's his own fault for being so powerful and so scary and doing these terrible things.
I am a victim of my own success. Conquest. I don't even get a real name.
And it's just like a terrible loop that he's caught in. And another fact is the final line he says, something you would assume is he would change the line. He would change that tone. So it wouldn't be, take it to your grave.
Take it to your grave.
It wouldn't be the same tone. It would be louder. It would be more authoritative, and it would go back to the other level. But the fact that he still keeps it in that so soulful sort of connecting way, it's kind of like, take it to your grave. Like, you take that with you instead of I'm forcing this on you. It's kind of, this is something I don't tell anyone. No one deserves this. This is what you get because I never get to do this. As opposed to, this is something I'm just venting, fuck you. It's not that. It's, I'm connecting with you right now. Go with it. If that makes any sense. And then, of course, the final thing is the actual contents of what Conquest is saying. Is the fact that, and just the context of what it is. He's holding his enemy down in front of him, and he can do whatever he wants to him. He could have killed Mark right there, but instead, he wants to vent, and he wants to just absolutely trauma dump on this dude right before he kills him. Because he never gets to do this. And this is something he believes Mark is now worthy of after fighting him for quite a while and doing all this shit to him. And so he comes down close to him and he internalizes everything he's been feeling, and he just lets that out and tells him he doesn't have any friends. They're all terrified of him because of what he is. He doesn't even get a name. He just has a purpose. Also, every line he utters in that monologue is sensational writing as well. I have to just absolutely just applaud the writing, because that ain't from the comics. They pulled that out of thin air, and that is an absolute W. That's incredible. And that one monologue, 1 minute and 14 seconds, I know it feels so much longer than that. It added so many more layers to Conquest. Throughout the entire episode, he's just a conquester, an absolute brute, an absolute monster. And he's there, he's enjoying it, he's maniacal. And then that just switches everything up, and it makes him 10 times more terrifying in the fact that he's just releasing all of this, and you're getting the monster's review and the actual eyes of the monster. He's letting you know what he feels, what he sees, and how all these other incredibly powerful people are even scared of him, and how lonely that is. It's even saying, like, this is the only real connection I get to have, is with my goddamn enemy. I don't have friends. Everyone's fucking terrified of me, and that is precisely my fault. Just from being an absolute monster and being strong as all hell, and just terrifying and not caring what I do to people, and conquering different planets. So the only time I get to let this loose is when I'm killing someone that doesn't die within the first 3 seconds of meeting me, or piss their pants, or whatever the hell excretion they do when they see Conquest coming towards them. Those are like the main points on this. I have to give my props to Jeffrey D. Morgan. I know, but it was incredible. What a performance. And the newest clip of the behind the scenes, and you just see
You did something to piss us off, and I thank you for it. This has been an immense joy.
You can see the way he's reading the script off, and the connection that he's having to it behind each line. He takes a second to think about it and then say it as a reaction.
After all I've done, after all this,
And actually start really feeling what he's saying.
you still think you can threaten me? I dare say, child, you are starting to impress me.
Such a right casting choice. It couldn't have been wrong, honestly. Like, I know people could go, oh, it should have been Ryan Hurst, should have been Bryan Cranston, or whoever the hell they wanted. A deeper voice is all they wanted. Like, there's the AI voices that went around which sounded cool and stuff. But it's like, what you got from Jeffrey D. Morgan and that performance you witnessed, you would not have gotten that from anyone else. And just reading that the casting was Jeffrey D. Morgan, you should have been there stroking your stuff, saying, we eating good. Because there is no way that man can fail as a villain. Like, you disrespected my man so much just because you had an idea of what you wanted just from seeing the character. But after this, you cannot say shit, because that was one of the greatest performances and monologues of all time, period. And I'm some acting geek, little nerdy editor-ish thing, writer, and I get to say that because I was truly touched by this man and what he did in these episodes. So yeah, that's what I thought and also what I know. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you thought of his performance. Should it have been someone else? Should it have been Ryan Hurst? Should it have been any other actor you can think of? But what did you think of the performance? Yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and bye.